Okay, I want to be really clear before we begin. I'm not anti-therapy. I'm not dismissive of trauma-informed care, and I'm not questioning the reality of trauma. The work that we do in the somatic skins and in the prestige is not trauma work. It isn't therapy and it isn't a trauma processing framework. What it does examine is something adjacent, how the nervous system organizes under pain and pressure, and what happens when trauma language is applied outside of clinical contexts to experiences that are actually about capacity, adaptation, and load. And this distinction matters because when trauma language is used without discrimination, we don't become more informed. We become less precise. It's sloppy. If an experience is automatically labeled as trauma when it was actually stretching, but still integratable, the nervous system would then be guided toward protection instead of adaptation. That isn't necessarily a failure of care on the part of the professional, but it is a resolution error. And that's the point of precision. In the work we do within the somatic skins, intensity is not the metric that we use to evaluate an experience. Organization is. Some experiences overwhelm the nervous system's ability to distribute load. Tension locks instead of circulating. Attention fractures instead of reorganizing, and rhythm is lost. Other experiences raise demand without breaking coherence. They require more structure, more coordination, more presence, and they leave the system more capable afterward. Both kinds of experiences can feel really intense depending on the individual. Both can feel destabilizing in the moment, but only one collapses capacity. When trauma language is applied indiscriminately, adaptive edges can be misread as injuries. Protective strategies can become frozen into identity, and the nervous system can quietly learn to interpret intensity, all intensity, as danger rather than information. If you're a professional and you work with clients in a transformational space, that isn't trauma care, it's a category error. And the cost could be in your client's sense of agency, access to greater potential, and expansive outcomes, what they likely came to you for. So when you have a client navigating a challenge and a tough situation, the real question this framework helps clarify is not, is this experience traumatic, or how do I get out of it? The question is, am I meeting this experience with collapsed capacity or well-resourced capability? Capacity that's collapsed looks like a reduced ability to think clearly. It diminishes relational presence and fewer choices under pressure. Capacity stretch looks like increased demand followed by reorganization. It's a temporary discomfort that ultimately can expand range, especially with skilled support and tools. These outcomes are somatically different and they require very different responses. And at this point, it's worth turning the lens back on ourselves. So here's your self-check as a coach. Think of a moment in your own work and life when you named an experience for a client or for someone else as hard, bad, tough, or even traumatic. If you can remember, how did you naming their experience expand or reduce their sense of agency and range? Did it subtly shape their narrative? Did it orient them towards protection and fragility or fixing? Precision isn't a luxury when working with humans as performance coaches. It's the difference between supporting adaptation, transformation, and expansion effectively, not just facilitating understanding and healing. Okay, before I go further, I want to orient you to the lens that I'm using. In the Somatic Skins framework, there are 4 primary ways the nervous system organizes when pressure increases. Pause this video, take the quiz for yourself, the link is in the description, so that you can start to understand these patterns for yourself first and then as a lens with your clients. Some systems resist and brace, that's the warrior. Some yield and adapt through movement, that's the shapeshifter. Some narrow and orient through focus, that's the sage. And some widen and sense through awareness, the asset. These are not diagnoses and they're not personality types. They're adaptive embodiment strategies, ways the body distributes load when demand rises. Knowing which strategy a system defaults to doesn't tell you whether someone is healthy or unhealthy. It tells you how current pressure is being managed in the body. And that brings us directly to why language choice matters so much. Language doesn't just describe experience. Language orients the nervous system. When an intense experience is automatically labeled trauma, that naming does more than validate the difficulty. It implicitly communicates something about capacity, safety, and what the system should do next. Did it support reorganization under pressure? Remember, this isn't about blame. It's about greater opportunity to equip our clients with nervous systems that actually adapt, hold, and carry charge. All right, so to recap, trauma care belongs where trauma care belongs. Capacity training belongs here in the coaching, performance, and somatic world. If you are in the business of helping your clients transform, discomfort, pain, upset, and trigger are inevitable. They must experience it to grow beyond the bounds of their current results, business, and life. So, not all intensity is injury. Not all discomfort requires repair. And not all pressure should be removed. When stretch is collapsed into trauma, adaptation is limited. When stretch is distinguished from something negative to neutral, pressure and response becomes information to create from. This is the level of discernment that we train inside of the Prestige. This is not therapy, this is not treatment. We are metaphorical surgeons when it comes to applied somatics and embodiment patterning. The work we do is for practitioners, for leaders, and facilitators who want greater coherence and capacity under load for themselves, but also in equipping their clients. If you want a clean entry point into this lens, the Somatic Skins quiz and the complimentary ebook is a useful place to start. From there, you can pick up a pre-ordered copy of our 2 core curriculums, the Somatic Skins, the full book, and Becoming the Grand Formidable. Both links are in the description below. They show how pressure organizes in the nervous system, not as pathology, but as pattern, and then gives you the tools and the lens on how to train capacity under charge, volatility, and challenge. These are the conditions of our world. It'll change how you see and deepen how you work. If you've made it this far, thank you. And if you received some value from this video, please take a moment, like and subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot, and I'll see you next time.